I used to wait for mornings that felt perfect, a clear mind, high energy, and some extra time. But those mornings were rare, and the days that followed were usually decided by whatever was loudest on my phone. Then I tried a different order. I stopped asking to feel ready and started asking for just one small action before the excuses woke up. The surprise wasn't that I got more done. It was that beginning created the feeling I had been waiting for all along. This is a story about starting before you're ready, how one quiet decision in the first few minutes can tilt your entire day, change your confidence, and teach your mind who's really in charge. By the end of this video, you'll have a tiny move you can place beside tomorrow's sunrise, and a way to begin even when your motivation is missing. You don't need the perfect morning. You just need a first inch you can trust. Most of my mornings used to belong to everything except my plans. I'd reach for a screen before I reached for the day. And that first hour would become a hallway of other people's priorities. I told myself I was just warming up, just a quick check of my email, just finding a better playlist, just a little tidying so I could earn a focused start. But 20 minutes later, I'd have nothing to show for it except a tighter schedule and a heavier mind. When I finally tried to begin my actual work, that first minute felt like staring over a cliff. I waited for a spark that never seemed to arrive on command, and I judged myself for not being the kind of person who wakes up ready. The label, "not a morning person," did what labels always do it. Made me stop asking better questions. I tried those perfect routines with 15 steps and a mandatory smile. They usually broke by Wednesday. I promised myself I'd start when life calmed down, but life politely declined to cooperate. The more I waited, the less I trusted my own plans. I realized I didn't need a new personality. I needed a morning that didn't depend on one. There's a hidden tax on waiting for readiness. Every single time I said later, I taught my mind that my word was negotiable. And that training didn't just stay in the morning. It followed me into the workouts I postponed, the important messages I owed, and the sleep I promised to protect. My identity slowly slid from I do what I say to I intend to do what I say. A small edit that felt heavy in my chest. Then, decision fatigue joined the party. Should I start now or after coffee? This task or that one? Should I work for 10 minutes or an hour? I spent my best attention choosing, not doing, and the day would end with a pile of almosts. Even when I had a good morning, it felt like pure luck, not something I could repeat. The stake here was bigger than just productivity. It was about self-trusta. Quiet engine that powers every success. Without it, even your wins feel accidental. But with it, small actions begin to compound. Morning motivation wasn't a speech I needed to hear from someone else. It was a switch I needed to place within my own reach. So the first move became easier than the first excuse. The turning point happened on a morning that looked like all the others, dim light, a long to-do list, and my thumb hovering over a phone screen. But before I tapped, I tried a sentence I'd always avoided. Motivation can follow movement. If that's true, then my feelings don't get the first vote. I decided I would act small, act fast, and act kindly. I chose a single rule for the next 7 mornings. When I wake up, I will make one tiny start before the world gets a chance to speak. So, I opened the blinds, took 10 slow breaths, and wrote just one single line that began my day's most important work. And then I stopped on purpose. That was it. The line wasn't pretty. The breath wasn't profound, but I had a receipt proof that I could lead. I didn't suddenly become fearless. I just became quick to begin. And when I ended kindly, not with a frantic push to do more, the morning felt like a place I wanted to revisit. The spark I'd been waiting for arrived late, and I realized it always had. It just needed me to go first. Here's a simple plan you can copy tomorrow. First, set a cue tonight. Place a glass of water and a pen by the window, or a yoga mat by your bed, or have an open document ready on your laptop. Make the first move physical and obvious. Next, decide on your 2-minute doorway. 1 line written, 1 paragraph read aloud, 1 slow set of push-ups, 1 important message sent. The action must be real, tiny, and able to survive a tired version of you. When you wake up, don't open a debate with yourself that you will lose to delay. Just count down softly from 5 and let your hands move at 1. If coffee's part of your morning, try making it a reward after your doorway, at least on the days you can. That flips a habit from being a permission slip to being proof of your action. Then, end kindly. Stop while it still feels manageable. The brain remembers how things end. Gentle endings make you want to return. Finally, mark visible proof. Put a dot on a calendar, a check on a card, a line in a small log. You're not chasing a perfect streak. You're collecting evidence that you are who you say you are. If a morning completely explodes, use a rescue minute before noon. Perform the smallest possible version of your action and let it count. Grow slowly. When your doorway feels automatic, extend it by 1 to 3 minutes, not 30. Discipline is less about intensity and more about proximity. Make the first move close and the next move easy. A week later, my mornings didn't look cinematic, but they felt different. I had a first move I trusted, and that changed the entire slope of my day. The phone still called to me, but now it waited. The social media feed still glowed, but it didn't get the first word. My average focus time before 9 in the morning rose in small, steady steps. First 10 minutes, then 12, then 20, because motion made room for more motion. On heavy days, I paid the minimum, did my 2-minute doorway, and left feeling proud. On energized days, that doorway opened into deep work without any force. Confidence didn't arrive as a loud shout. It arrived as a steady whisper that said, "I begin." That whisper followed me into the afternoon and into choices that used to make me wobble. I learned that morning motivation isn't a feeling you chase. It's a promise you keep to yourself. And when you keep it, your day begins to recognize you as the person in charge. If this idea lifted even 1% of the weight off your morning, protect it. Set your cue tonight where your hand will find it first. Decide the smallest real action I begin wheat. And give yourself permission to end kindly. Put one visible mark where you can see it. Tomorrow, let movement lead and let motivation follow. Begin before you're ready, and watch the day rearrange itself around your choice. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories that help reset your mind, be sure to subscribe to be next to you.